Let's look at this scenario. You have a female pig, and then you are able to take care of it till it reaches maturity, where you cross it and it is carrying piglets. And then you wait till farrowing. This piglet gives birth, and then all the piglets are dead or they're stillbirth. How are you going to feel? This is one of the most painful things that can happen to you on your pig farm, and we are going to address this issue today. My name is Angela Ayite, and today we are going to look at inbreeding very broadly. We are going to look at what inbreeding is, how inbreeding occurs, the causes of inbreeding. What are the causes? What are the effects of inbreeding, and how can we eliminate the occurrence of inbreeding on our farms? Let's get right into today's video. So what is inbreeding? Inbreeding is the mating of individuals that are closely related, and the underlying term here is closely related in the sense that if you are to trace several animals of a particular breed, at a certain point they might have come from the same individual, or they may be related. So the ones that are closely related is what we are talking about as being the ones that cause inbreeding. How does inbreeding occur? Or let's say, what is the science behind inbreeding? So we know that inbreeding in pigs occurs if closely related boars and sows are crushed. Now, this is what inbreeding does. Inbreeding increases the chances of piglets inheriting copies of the same genes from their parents. Since the parents are identical, then it means that their genetic makeup is also similar. So when the piglet receives an identical gene from each parent, then it means that it is going to have two pairs of genes that are identical. Now, why is this a problem? This would have been desirable if the genes that were acquired will lead to superior performance in the piglets. But is this what happens? No, a very big no. Maybe 1 out of 20 cases. But this doesn't usually happen. This is because most animals, with pigs included, carry undesirable genes that usually remain hidden unless the animal acquires a pair of those genes. These genes are recessive. What this means is that a piglet that is produced by crossing two related pigs has a high chance of having identical gene pairs, and thus more likely to showcase or express undesirable genes physically. In the parents, these genes are recessive. They are suppressed. They are not shown physically. But once it gets to the piglet is going to take two of these identical genes, and then it's going to showcase those suppressed qualities physically. Do you get it? So let's use this scenario to get better understanding. Let's say you start your pig farm with 3 female pigs and 1 boy, and then the 3 female pigs are able to produce 8 piglets each. Now when the piglets are all matured together with their parents, inbreeding will occur if you cross 2 mature piglets, male and female, that are from the same mother and the same father. Also, another instance that inbreeding will occur will be if you cross 2 mature piglets, a male and a female, from 2 different mothers. Remember, they're having the same father. So even though they are 2 mothers, since they have the same father, inbreeding will occur. Also, inbreeding will occur if you cross a mature piglet, that is a female one, with its father, the boy that crossed the sow. If you cross a matured female piglet with the producing boy, inbreeding will occur. Also, if you cross a matured male piglet with one of the sows, inbreeding will occur. And also, if you cross any of the matured male piglets with maybe the next generation of piglets that will be born, inbreeding will also occur. So in all these 5 instances that I've noted in just this small scenario are cases where inbreeding can occur. So usually I would advise that if you have a pig farm and then you have a boy that you use to cross your female pigs, and then they are able to carry and then deliver piglets, you have to immediately get rid of that boar, like sell it off, because you might be tempted to use that boar in crossing the piglets when they are matured, and you have a problem over there. So now let's look at the effects of inbreeding. 1. Inbreeding can lead to a term or phenomenon that is known as inbreeding depression. Now, what is inbreeding depression? Inbreeding depression is the reduced survival and fertility of offspring that are produced from closely related parents. So we can say that inbreeding depression will cause a decline in the performance of pigs on your farm. So this inbreeding depression can lead to the loss of desirable characteristics on your farm. Let's say you're having pigs that were muscular, that or sows that had very nicely arranged teeth and all that, and you begin crossing related pigs. There's going to be a time where all those desirable characteristics that were on your farm are going to be eradicated and are going to be replaced with very bad characteristics on the farm, because you are crossing individuals that have the same genes, causing a build-up of recessive or suppressed genes in the piglets that are being produced. So performance will drastically reduce. Breeding can also lead to loss of piglets or stillbirth due to offspring or piglets acquiring similar genes from their parents. In some extreme cases, the biological potency or fitness of that particular litter decreases substantially, and this can reduce the survival rate of piglets in the litter. So with this, it's either the piglets will be born dead on arrival, or after they are born, after some few hours or a few days, you may lose such piglets because their immune system is generally weaker and they are unable to cope with the conditions that exist outside of the fetal sac, and they might die. Inbreeding can also lead to lower litter sizes. So when two closely related pigs are crossed, that's a boy and a sow, and the sow gets pregnant, you realize that upon farrowing, the sow will produce a very small litter or few number of piglets. This is because inbreeding promotes homozygosity. Okay, let me break this term down. So homozygosity is basically a piglet acquiring two genes that are similar, as compared to heterozygosity, which is what we want, where piglets are going to acquire two genes that are dissimilar. Once there's continuous homozygosity, it is going to generally reduce the performance of the sow, and then that's also going to affect the number of piglets that the sow is going to produce as time goes on. Inbreeding can also lead to reduced growth rate in piglets. Crossing closely related pigs will lead to the production of piglets that are most likely to have some form of stunted growth, because the immune system of such piglets are weak, and thus it's expected that they'll have a low feed conversion rate. And if they have a low feed conversion rate, what's going to happen? They are going to waste so much feed. Instead of converting the feed into body weight, it will not be done. Most of the feed will be converted into waste because their immune system is weak and is not able to function as expected. So instead of them putting on more weight, you realize that you are feeding them very well, you are giving them feed, you are giving them water, you are doing everything you can. But these pigs or these piglets that are born from the process of inbreeding will not be able to grow as expected. And even it can lead to underdevelopment of certain physical characteristics on the pigs, like the teeth. The teeth may not, the teeth of such piglets may not form very well, and they may not be properly spaced. Maybe for the male piglets that are born due to inbreeding, they may not be as muscular as expected. Everything about their growth will be so stunted that it might lead you, the farmer, to become frustrated. There have been some cases where people have complained of such events, and then if you're able to trace back, you realize that there may have been some form of inbreeding that occurred on your farm that you didn't maybe pay attention to. So now let's look at the causes of inbreeding. Why would inbreeding occur on your farm, or what can make inbreeding occur on your farm? 1. Typically small head sizes or small number of pigs on your farm can cause inbreeding to occur. Why is this so? With a small head size, the probability of inbreeding occurring is higher, because let's say you have just one boar and you're using that boar to cross, let's say, all the females on your farm. Let's say 5 females, right? So you have a lot of siblings on the farm, because if the piglets that are to be produced have a common father, then it means that they are all related in one way or another. And then you maybe do not introduce a different boy to come and cross those piglets, and you decide to use some of the boys that were produced in crossing the same females, there's going to be inbreeding. Or even if you introduce another piglet from another boy from outside, and with time goes on, you don't tag them, because if the head size is small, you are going to have a lot of siblings or closely related animals. And so if you do not tag them, the chances of you mistakenly crossing related pigs is very, very, very high. Inbreeding can also occur if boys are kept for far too long. Now if you're wondering, if I keep a boy for too long, how would inbreeding occur? This is what will happen. Let's say you have a boy and use it to cross your females, it produces piglets, and then you keep that boy on the side, and then bring another boy to cross those piglets that have been born. Then with time, you go and use maybe the 3rd generation of piglets, you cross them with that first boy. Now, it's 3rd generation, but they are somehow related. So imagine this occurrence occurring like repetitively. Maybe 2nd generation crossing 1st generation, 3rd generation crossing 1st. Before you realize, most of the pigs on your farm are going to be somewhat related. Do you get it? They are going to be somewhat related, and all this can result in inbreeding, because there are levels of inbreeding. There are very higher levels, and then there are lower levels. So the higher it can start with lower levels, maybe a 3rd generation crossing the 1st generation. Then gradually, before you realize, 2nd generation is crossing, because the number of pigs on your farm are increasing, and you are still keeping the old boys which have crossed, and then you've gotten piglets from them. So before you realize, inbreeding is occurring greatly on your farm, or the level of inbreeding on your farm has risen to higher levels. Usually when inbreeding is low, its consequences are not even seen, or its effects are not really seen. But over time, the consequences can be very deadly. Another cause of inbreeding is buying pigs from the same source. When you buy pigs from the same source, the probability that you will get siblings or pigs that are related is high. It might not be intentionally, but the farmer who is selling, if he doesn't keep proper records or doesn't tag the animals, he can end up giving you boys and sows that are related, maybe 1st generation and 2nd generation, or 2nd generation, 3rd generation pigs. And then when you come to cross them on your farm, that is inbreeding, because the pigs are related. And that is no fault of yours, but just from the fact that you bought from one source, you can have this problem on your farm. So buying piglets from one source can lead to inbreeding. So now let's look at how to avoid inbreeding on our farms. 1, you have to investigate the closeness of pigs that you are buying. Or, to be safer, do not buy your pigs from the same source. Do not do that. If the farmer does not have records that prove that the pigs you are buying are not related in any way, or he has not tagged the pigs, do not buy them from the same farm. You can buy your boar from maybe source A and go and buy your sows from another source, just so that you know that they are far apart in terms of being related, so that you don't end up buying very closely related pigs and bringing them to your farm for crossing. Another way to avoid inbreeding is to keep the ratio of females to males very low. So let's say if you have one boy, you don't have to cross it with so many females, else you end up having so many pigs that are related. So if you have a boy, you can cross it with, let's say, 3 or 4 sows, and then for other sows you get another boy to cross them as well. So with this, you are going to get piglets that are not related in any way, because mother and father are different for these sets of piglets. Mother and fathers are different for these sets of piglets, and with that you can cross them as time goes on. So keeping the ratio of sows to boars low is very important. Also, to avoid inbreeding, do not keep a boar for too long. If you have a boar and use it in crossing several females, at a point you have to let it go so that you get another boar to come in, so that you get piglets that are not related in any way. If you continuously use one boar to cross several females, you might end up crossing the second generation piglet or a third generation piglet and the boar again, because you are using that same boar for crossing over and over. So the probability that you are going to cross related pigs is very high. So it is better that after using a boar for a certain period of time, just sell it off, get a fresh boar, so that at every point in time the probability of inbreeding occurring is drastically reduced on your farm. Inbreeding can be a very, very big challenge. I think I got a comment from someone recently asking me to address inbreeding, and I had already planned on it, so here we go. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments or contributions, you can leave them down below so that all of us can learn or contribute to help improve ourselves as farmers. I'll see you in my next video, and right now it's a bye.